Therapy Army! Where are we, people? Where are we? Where are we? Who's there? Who's there? Who's there? Where are we, Therapy Army? Let's be having you. It's a gloomy, gloomy, rainy day in Manchester, but we'll love it. We're having it. We're mad for it. We're here for it, people, because Man United won on the weekend, and spirits are up. Spirits are up, people. So come on, smash a like on that video as soon as you come in and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we are, I think, 60 away from 7,000. So let's go, people. Let's go. Let's do this. Big up Khalees Romedin Lassie, Chief Editor United Real Therapy. Big up to Prazana. Big up to Lilas. Big up to all of you people. We're going to be talking about the Glazers, and we're going to be discussing the rest of the Premier League who are scared. They're all scared in it, like scared in it. When it comes to Man United, everybody's scared. Scary times, mate, for some people in it. The most important thing is that all those who said Man United is going to be sold by the end of March, come right in front of the congregation. Come right in front of the congregation, because I told you then it was unrealistic. So it is what it is. But big up Khalees, big up Alien Tenno, big up Yemen TVs where Red TV, love, brother. Big up to everybody, and big up to all my people in Yemen, man. Love, light, solidarity to all my people in Yemen, man. Love and light. And if you know, you know. Ethically, we're linked, we're close, we're family, man. You know, you know. Big up to man like Jarvis. Big up to every one of you. Please smash a like as you come in. So hopefully Saeed and Tom is going to join us, and we're going to get into it. So big up Georgie B as well, man. And Nuruddin, you read the rumors. Bias are not heard back from the Glazers yet. They're playing games. Of course they're playing games, man. Playing games, man. That's all we're doing, playing games. Big up Aaron Rashid. He says, yes, people, hit that like. Yeah, man. Smash a like. Big up Ezekiel as well, man. Love and light. Welcome to the Monday night Saeed, Tom, Nuruddin podcast, mate. That's what we are. Structure podcast, mate. We always look for the hard hits. We go behind the headlines and look for the hard hitting issues that are affecting everything, like with Manchester United and everything to do with it. Yeah, man, you know Yemen TV. You know this, brother. Big up. Big up. Here comes Saeed. Yes, Saeed. Big up to you.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Yo, big up Ian Fontaine. And Ian Fontaine always trolling me like nobody's business.
Why is he always on you, man? He's on my chat like all day. Like, do you know?
Yeah. And he always says the same thing. Nuruddin's glossing over the issues. You know what it is? He's just like, he's this person who just loves to troll me and always says the same things. But you know what? Actually, Saeed, he's growing on me. I like it. And the biggest thing, because the opposite is the truth, Saeed. The opposite is the truth. Because I never gloss over anything. On Straight Jacket podcast, we don't gloss over anything, bro. Yeah, we don't. So it's all love and light. He's growing on me. It's all love. Big up to everybody. Saeed, you were there on Saturday. It was crazy. Early bird kickoff.
Oh, man, them early birds, man, Nuruddin. I walked
let the people know why you loved it, why you love this game. Because second half, Man United was shooting towards
the East stand. You know, we celebrate like it was a goal, you know. I don't know what it is, you know. Is it, you know, when they do it, is it a coin toss or is it just natural?
Yeah, it's a coin toss, yeah.
So then why is it never 50-50 then?
Because the away team likes to shoot towards their own fans because their away fans are there.
Oh, right.
Their away fans are the side of you, yeah.
But they decided not to. They decided
not to, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, that, man. But you know what, man?
You know what? Sean Dice tried to get into the thing, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Sean Dyche. Yeah. You know what I'm saying to you? But you know what? Now it was good, man. It was good. I went there. You know what I mean? Nice, warm day. Good to see a lot of people from around the world again coming to Old Trafford. And yeah, man, I feel like for me it was a good win. Should have won more. I think for me that was the most enjoyable Old Trafford game in a while, man. I think since the Tottenham game, maybe. The most chances is a Tottenham game, maybe, if that's correct. If I'm wrong, it does have open play shots. Let me know in the chat if I'm wrong. But since the Tottenham game, I've never got off my seat. Oh, yeah, you know, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're like, come on, man, this.
You were Leslie. How's Leslie?
Leslie was up and down, man. She was like, we got to score more. I said, listen. This is how it is now, man. It's not. We're not clinical, man. If we had a clinical team, man, bro, imagine we had Harry Kane up front or Osimhen or whoever's up front. We would have been scoring 3, 4, 5 before half time. Anthony threw on goal. Rashford threw on goal. Like, it's not as if it's like, just like, like half chances. These were big chances, Nuruddin, man. And we scoffed them, man. And imagine the manager is putting a game plan out to win that much, but you're doing what, 2-0s? Like, this is why you can't blame Ten Hag, man. How can you blame Ten Hag and say it's pragmatic football, it's negative? Bro, he's put us out there to win. And these guys are not finishing the dinners, mate. You know what I mean? So, boy, man. But again, clean sheet, man. Clean sheet as well. We got a clean sheet.
You know what? Seriously, it was a bit surreal, Saeed. I'm not lying to you. All around me, all of us were like, I could have finished that. And then all the bare women are like, I could have finished that. I could have finished that. I could have finished that.
Wan-Bissaka one. Be up to Andy. Wan-Bissaka one. I forgot about that one, You know what I was doing? I was looking at the linesman to say, no, it's offside. Because I was like, I thought that was one of our attackers, So I was like, oh my God, we're going to get some slander. Anthony slander or whatnot. Then I found out it was Wan-Bissaka. I thought, yeah, man, it's all good, man. He's not.
You can trust Saeed, yeah. The sun was on the east standing at the sun.
Yeah.
So you can see what was going on. No, it's not. Big up. Daesh went commando, left with a nappy mate.
Yo, nappy mate.
It was that alien. I'm telling you, Saeed. I've not seen a team come to Old Trafford this season, Saeed, and play a high line like that. It was the most surreal thing. David De Gea is assisting one long ball over the top to Anthony.
Yeah.
And like Anthony's through. So basically, Anthony missed 2 1-on-1s. Rashford misses 2 1-on-1s, and Wan-Bissaka misses one of those. So it was madness. Saeed, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had 4 knee surgeries, and I was thinking the Anthony one. I was like, the second one.
Yeah.
The second one, I'm thinking you need to be more central. So if the defender touches you, that's what happens. And then Godfrey, guess what happened to Godfrey? Got sub, mate, half eye, because he went back to bed, mate. He went straight. Trust me, he was Sleepy Joe, mate. Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, man. He got cooked, man. And like I said, I'm surprised they went with a back 4. I thought they would have went with what normally do. They go with a back 5.
You know what he did? He tried to dominate the midfield. But Bruno kept the ball. Like, he tried to use the Iwobi, Idrissa Gueye, and Anas to dominate and bully us. But it worked the other way because we kept the ball away from them. Yeah. And then it was just like every time that ball was through, Sancho again made so many runs, but they didn't find him. But the pass, oh my God.
Lovely. Look, that's what you can do, man. It's just that we're not seeing it enough, man. That's the problem, Nuruddin. We know Sancho can do that. We know he's got that capability. We know he's got that in him. But again, I think Sancho's just a confidence player, man. When he's confident, when he's oozing, he's doing everything. When he's like not confident, he can't really much involve himself in a game, and that's the issue. Rashford can get a goal without playing his best game. Rashford can get an assist without playing his best game. Now that's Sancho's next level. That's his. He might be out that player, but he needs to do it.
But the thing, Saeed, as well, is the more Man United dominate possession, the more Sancho's better as well.
That's the key. That's the key. But I think for me,
go ahead.
It's whether you know what I mean. United obviously can find the balance. If we can find the balance, that's where I think Sancho will thrive. He needs to be starting games. I don't think Sancho can be coming off the bench and having an impact. Starting games suits him more. More you start games, that's where you see the better Sancho. But you know what I mean. Have we got time when this top 4 race is you know what I mean? It's tough. Newcastle are tough. Brighton will come out of nowhere and they still will want to fight. Tottenham are in there. I don't know how they're in there.
Yeah,
they absolutely got away with one.
Crazy, and then massive robbery. You know what? Big up Sim Gunner. Sim Gunner, we're not seeing you in a while, bro. I hope you're good. Nah, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. All you have to do is do not lose to City. You still for me, you still are in top gear. I genuinely do think you're going to beat Newcastle. I think you're going to beat Newcastle. I believe that. I think still 6 points. You would have bit my hand off, Sim Gunner, if I would have said to you beginning of the season, 9 games to go, Arsenal are going to be 6 points clear of Man City, top of the Premier League. You've been there, dominated it majority of the season. I'm not going to lie to you. If you would have scored the 3rd goal in that first 40 minutes,
that was a different
game done. I'm not buying it. And you know what? I'm not buying it with this Gary Neville BS talk, Anfield crowd. And man, I'm not buying that. Real Madrid went there and slapped them. Where was the crowd when Real Madrid scored 5 there? Come on now, behave. Listen, and I don't believe it was down to Saka. I think it was that Liverpool were making chances. But for me, the third goal was
Substitutions,
coming.
bro. Substitutions killed him. He didn't make. He did what he did at Old Trafford. He didn't make the substitutions at Old Trafford. And then what happened? United went and scored two. They made the proactive substitutions. We brought. I think we put Rashford through the middle. I think it was or something like that. Or we did something anyway. A tactical tweak.
Yeah, we
We
did.
then scored. And then obviously the same thing happened here. So you know, what I mean, I think ultimately Arsenal should be happy still that they're hitting around here. They're still alive. You know, what I mean, it's still a lot to play for. Man City, as much as, like I said, they expected to have an easier running. Bro, the Premier League, you don't know, man. Look what happened with us in 2011, 2012. We lost to Wigan. Was it Wigan we lost 1-0 to? Sean Maloney. We drew to Everton. How many
3-3.
goals?
At Old Trafford,
3-3.
when we're 3-1 up. Coasting.
3-1 up. So this can happen, man. So I think Arsenal, you know, what I mean, it just made that 4 games there. Can they get maximum points, man? That's the key, man. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not going to lie to you. Seeing the way that Jesus was playing, in that 40 minutes, they couldn't live with you, bro. They couldn't live with until they scored. They couldn't live with you. I think Arsenal, for me, have to. Like, if the goals come, I think you're going to win the league, honestly. And the biggest thing psychologically was if you would have lost. If you would have lost psychologically, that's when it gets nervy. Because you lose a big game like that, it affects you mentally. Look how long it took Man United to recover from the 7 against Liverpool.
Yeah,
It
that's
took us
mad, you know. When you think about it, yeah, it's true. It's true.
yeah. So for me, Sima, you had to, for me, long as you didn't lose, I think you're good enough to get a point at the Etihad. Because when I looked at the cup game, you were the better team, but you just didn't score the goals. So it is what it is at the end of the day. A lot more football to be played, a lot more twists and turns. So for
A
me,
lot more twists and turns, man. A lot more twists and turns.
a lot more twists and turns. Big up, Tom. Tom, are you there? I know that you are you sorting out your laptop, so we'll start the debate properly. So, guys, genuinely, this is the time by March, the end of March, where Manchester United make most football clubs then think who's going out and who's then coming in the summer. The improvements that needs to be made from this team. Now we know the Glazers are playing games, yeah, and we said that it ain't never going to be the end of A football. Like everything else, like transfers, Glazers drag it out. We know that they drag it out. They're the team that drags it out more than no other owners drag out anything and play games. I believe, and I coined the phrase, they're playing games, yeah, quite a while back. Nothing that tells me they're still doing it. As the weeks go on, it makes it what I predicted to be, right? That they're just playing games, like having 2 bidders, keeping everybody in the dark, getting the PR teams to go out there and saying they're not selling, they're not doing this. So, Eric Ten Hag, you're in this position now. You knew that your transfers, I think the only one that went away the only player that went away with the team to Australia was Malacia. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
That
That's
was
true.
the only player. So he signed 5 players, and the only player he could take on the preseason was Malacia, right? So are we going again, guys? Having Helter Skelter, another thing, and this is always it's a question. It's the Helter Skelter Man United Glazer transfer again, right? And then the other and everything that comes with that. You both know that. I don't have to tell you. I tell any United fans the stuff that comes with that. And is it a matter of budget? Because if Man United get bought out, the budget changes. The profile of players Manchester United go changes. Is there something that can be done? Let's say that if they agreed at the end of May or the beginning of May, is there something that can be done with a club and with an understanding with the Glazers to go, this, whoever's buying the football club, 300 million, 250 million, kitty, or are we in for another crazy summer where Ten Hag was going to America, by the way, the US, where we're not going to have any of the players that we've signed. We're not going to have any players that we're letting go. And it's going to be just all done in the last week when the Premier League starts again already. So I'll go to you first, Saeed. What's going to happen?
I think ultimately, it's got a bit quiet, and I think ultimately, like Aaron said, though, it's going to take a while. It's going to take it's a big process to sort this out. This ain't no easy situation. This is also my United are in. You know, what I mean, it's not as if it's everyone wants their gain. The Premier League want their gain. The council want their gain. You know, what I mean, obviously the Glazers want the ultimate gain. You know, so they have to. There's a lot of pleasing to go around. There's a lot of money to go around. You know what I mean? And I think I think what the situation is right now is a base of negotiating what the price is going to be. Obviously, they've set it to be around 6 billion, 7 billion. Obviously with the Qataris and Jim Ratcliffe, they're putting in a region around 5 billion. That's what we're hearing, roughly 5 billion. But the Glazers will wait out, and I think ultimately there are going to be other people involved still. You know, there are going to be latecomers. There's no deadline. Like what the thing that I got from this year was, which I thought was very positive, was there was a deadline. Right, there was a first deadline, there was a second deadline. Now, it's almost as if it's kind of like, well, not really any deadline. It's very, very kind of like soft deadline. It's gone to the point where, you know, nobody's hearing anything. So then it's like, it gives freedom other people to come forward maybe. And that's what they're doing. The Glazers are buying their time. They're buying their time to get as much as what they want. Business-wise, it makes sense. For us as fans, it's frustrating. That's why I've almost taken a back seat from it all and just be like, you know what? I'm just concentrating on the season. In essence, we shouldn't be, because this will affect our transfer window. And this will affect Ten Hag, because he's thinking to himself, you know, hold on a minute. You know what I mean? This is not great. We need to understand that the manager needs his players. The manager needs what he, you know what I mean? He needs to know his targets. And right now, we don't know what his targets are. We don't know what he wants, because he's having to wait what's going on with the ownership. So, and then I'm hearing today what I've seen with the digging the Old Trafford training ground. I think that's a bit of PR for the Glazers to look like, you know, they're doing something and whatnot. But I think ultimately it's gonna take a while, man. I think this is not gonna finish, man. For I reckon May, you know what I mean? May time you'll hear something, maybe when the season ends. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon, man. Right now, we're nowhere near to the level of what there's no kind of like, right, it's happening. Like it's not, it's just a lot of hearsay evidence, a lot of, you know, mutterings, a lot of kind of, well, they've not really closed the deal round. You know, the Premier League is still saying that, you know, we need to hear back from this. So I think it's going to get frustrating and more frustrating. And that's why I've just told them to take a backseat, man. This is a big situation, man. It's not an easy fix. It's not an easy, you know, process to kind of figure out.
But imagine, because usually for the summer transfer around March, February and March, that's where in the backroom staff and the manager and the scouts and the director of football, they all got together and go, who are we going to let go in the summer? Who we're going to get in? So what's happening with those?
Yeah, that's
transfer, Saeed. Now you add this extra to it. What are we supposed to expect from the transfer window in the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, the key thing for Man United and Ten Hag is communication. We need communication. There isn't a lot of communication. We're hearing obviously from the report from the Daily Mail or whatnot, and obviously different journalist outlets and whatnot. It was a hot topic. It's almost become now the not hot topic. I think a lot of journalists gained a lot of traction from it, and now they realise, I'll be honest with you, it's not really giving us anything. Like, this guy here from the Daily Mail stuck with the story. The Delaney guy's not really come back in a while now.
Mike
the top Keegan, Mike Keegan. Yeah. So it was hot topic, but now it's almost like it's not hot topic. I think the journalists maybe are now starting to see it as a chess game now. They're starting to see, you know, well, really, you guys are not really giving us anything, so we're not going to give it the acquired attention like they're not. And that's why it's literally, we're hearing little feeds, and that's about it, really. Big up. But that's all we're hearing, and that's what it's come down to. That's why I've just kind of almost taken a backseat. I'm there when it needs to be there, but right now I'm like, I don't even know what the Glazers want at this minute. It's becoming that much now where I don't know what the Glazers want now. Is it 6 billion? Is it 7 billion? Is it? You know, what do you want? Like, do you want $1 billion each? It's become a bit too kind of like complex now, when it should be put your bid in, we'll hear from you soon. Now it's everyone's like, well, I want this one and I want that one. Nah, man, just tell us what you want. Be honest, be transparent. But again, you don't get transparent from the Glazers, do you? You know, even the fan base as well, they started to sing it every single week now. You sell United stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, so, and the Glazer banner as well is out there. Shout out to the TRA.
That's the season chant, yeah. That's been developed. Tom, I'm going to come to you and I'll ask you the same question. But, like, to me, it's not about it. I know the Glazers are playing games, yeah? But I want to ask you about how is it affecting for the plans for the summer? Like, where is Ten Hag's minds at right now? Big up to you, by the way. I hope you're good. Are you having a good bank holiday weekend? Happy Easter, by the way.
Yeah. Big up everyone. Happy Easter and everything, obviously. And look, I think with Ten Hag, I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world to keep your eye on, because at the end of the day, with the whole sales saga, it's every day it's a different story or it's a different tale. Like, but it was the same thing with Chelsea, and Chelsea's the easiest example to use because it was the same process that was used for Chelsea. Everybody had the first round of bids. They then said, right, who's serious? They then put serious bidders through to the second round, like they did. They put both Sheikh Yassim and Sir Jim and people like the Elliott Group and everybody. They put serious candidates through from either of the parties, either to buy it all or minority investment. They've then put those through to the second round. All of these different groups have then put a further bid in, or as people call it, improved bid. And then from there, it's almost as if the Glazer family are just looking at the options. They're assessing what's been on the table. And at the end of the day, yes, there's no way that at the end of the day, somebody could come in last minute and say, oh, I want to buy Man United. Elon Musk, mate, he could put a tweet out on Twitter, I want to buy Man United, and he could still come in if he wanted to. Like, these things can happen, but from Ten Hag's perspective, I don't think he wants to get involved with it. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares if it's Sir Jim, if it's Qatar, if it's, United Real Therapy who buys Man United. I don't think he really cares at the end of the day. I think his main and priority focus is the football. And even Thomas Tuchel, when there was all those sagas and the sanctions were on Roman Abramovich at the time, and they couldn't even fund to go to away games and things like that, like travel costs for the team. He wasn't panicking, he wasn't worried, and he still guided them to a decent place in the Champions League, where they was unlucky to get knocked out by Real Madrid in the end. And also, they still got the top four at the end of the season. And they put up a compelling case in a mini title race, if you like, for that season. But the only precedent I can say is you've had two big takeover football clubs in the last, should we say, 3-4 years, and that's been Chelsea and Newcastle. They're the most high-profile ones. Both of those clubs took a lot longer than they probably should have done to have been sold, if we're being real and honest. But that's Chelsea and Newcastle. This is Man United. This is the brand. This is the name. This is the way. This is everything about Man United. You walk down the street to people wherever. You could be in New York. You could be in London. You could be in Nairobi. You could be anywhere. You show the Manchester United badge and you just scribble out the name of what the actual club is and say, what is this club? Can you name it to us? They'll name it to you. Probably majority of the people. I'd say 9 times out of 10. Any people that you ask, they'll be able to name what the Man United badge is because it's that recognisable. And it's that recognition that even people like Ten Hag will look and think, well, I don't have to necessarily talk players into coming to Man United like I had to do with Ajax. The club sells itself. And if you've got the top four, you've got the manager, and you've got a progressing club, whether it be under a new ownership or not, Man United will never be short of an attraction. And that's the one thing that we can always say. But like Saeed just said about where there's been these reports so that they put diggers outside Carrington. And there was the report where the Etihad's been listed ahead of Old Trafford for the Euros and things like that. And I just look at that and I think, you've had to put put something out, and they've put something out saying it's because of redevelopment plans that might clash with Old Trafford. But you say obviously redevelopment plans, all of these different like sculptures that have been put on Twitter that people are seeing and everything, right? These are what's been designed in terms of if somebody new comes in. The Glazers have not had any sculptures, not had any architectural designs drawn up that have been leaked, publicised, nothing. All we're seeing is what Qatar would do, what Sir Jim would do, what Elliott would fund or something like that. We're not seeing what the Glazer family would actually do. And that's why in this case, we have to look at it from both sides. You can say, well, it's gone quiet, it's gone dead, and nobody's hearing, a word or nothing. But you ain't dealing with Chelsea anymore. You ain't dealing with Newcastle anymore. Man United is a club and as a brand is worth twice of what Chelsea is. And some Chelsea fans might disagree with that. But as how Manchester United are, whether we are good, bad, whether we're winning major titles or we're in a relegation battle, Man United will always be an aspiring and an astute brand above any football club in the Premier League. The only club that comes near is Liverpool. And we know for that reason why, because of what they've won. Aside from
And
that,
maybe Real Madrid. And maybe Real
yeah,
Madrid.
and maybe Real Madrid if you want to talk European, they are more talking domestically. But as a whole, that is all that it is. And at the end of the day, Man United will never be short of a few quid. And this is what I mean. At the end of the day, with the Glazer family, it's been set in stone and the precedent's been there since they've ever come in. They always drag every single thing out, whether it be sacking a manager, whether it be appointing a manager like we did with Ten Hag, whether it be transfers. So it's no surprise. But the only difference is this is more bigger and means more to them than any of those other three previous things that I just said, because this involves them and this is about what they will get at the end of all of this. And at the end of the day, the Glazer family will always do one thing, and that is negotiate, because they're businessmen. If they weren't businessmen, they wouldn't be in this game and they wouldn't be in this business, because they wouldn't have any money there at all to do things like this or to own a club like Man United. So at the end of the day, all these people that are worrying about, they're not going to sell and they're not going to negotiate. If you're a businessman, you know how to negotiate. I know myself personally. If you know how to negotiate, you'll get a good deal for yourself. And that's all the Glazer family are doing. And when it comes to numbers, just as a final point, when it comes to numbers, this is why nobody, no journalist out there knows what the exact numbers are. Because when you start getting and talking about numbers, that's when things start to go quiet. You never heard anything in the build-up to it, what the numbers were. It was always, the Qatar are planning to do this with the stadium. Sir Jim put the Manchester back in Manchester United and things like that. You never heard numbers at that sort of stage, and you're never going to hear numbers. And it wouldn't surprise me in the end of all this, if Man United eventually is to be sold, it wouldn't surprise me if you don't even hear how much it even went for officially.
Do you think so?
I don't think so, Saeed, because I just think the way that this has been marketed and the difference with Chelsea and Man United is Chelsea at the time was a distressed asset that was going out of business. Man United can still operate, whether it be the Glazers that are there or not. But there will be a time lapse on that with how they run the club. But because of how big Man United are as a brand, the confidentiality over how much that finance is worth or who's paid whatever money, it suits the Glazers because it means that, they're hard to negotiate. And then people in business, whoever want to do business with them, will look at that and think they're hard people to do business with. So we've got to be careful how we negotiate with them. Whoever buys the club could then be under scrutiny because they could get their pants pulled down when they go to buy a player, when they go and try and get a coach, a director of football, whoever, and they try and negotiate that way. We'll say, we paid over the odds to buy the club. Right, you can pay over the odds to hire Paul Mitchell, to bring in, Victor Osimhen. Like, clubs know these things and they look at things articulately. And this is why with Man United, all I'm saying with any fans out there is don't panic, because at the end of the day, you're at the stage of where it's about money and it's about numbers. And that's why it's gone quiet. Because nobody, under NDA regulation laws, nobody knows what the official numbers are. And nobody will.
No, 100%. The biggest point is that I'm even getting away. I'm no longer talking about whether they're going to sell or not. I'm talking about how this will affect the summer transfer. That's what I wanted to ask Nora. But Saeed, I'm going to come to you. So according to this, Athletic, clubs lobbying Premier League to stop nation-state linked takeover reports. Dan Sport, not yet this stock shareholder meetings, but the sentiment is building among top number flights with Arsenal exec Tim Lewis, strong voice. So can I just get this? So where the F were they when City and Newcastle were getting taken over?
I know. Obviously, it makes sense now because now the teams are making more money. Teams are making more money, Nuruddin, and that's why obviously they're looking to kind of clamp down now on terms of ownership and state ownership or whatnot. They're clamping down. Obviously, they're making enough money. You know what I mean? It's not ideal for them because it's like, if you look at the Premier League now, though, they're looking to make their own kind of Netflix kind of like, in terms of like them streaming their own games. They don't want Sky Sports and everyone taking over. So they're losing out a lot of money, which they think, they should be getting a piece of the pie of, because they obviously created this Premier League. So I get it. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of politics involved in this, man. You know what I mean? Everyone wants their piece of pie. Premier League want their piece of pie. The Glazers want their piece of pie. So there is concerns on every single front. You know what I mean? And for the fan base, we want clarity. Like Tom says, we want a lot of We want to know what the answers are because there's a lot of people involved in this. The amount of people that, you know, the thing is as well, like normally I would have thought with United, I get we're the biggest club in the world, but you know, they would have been an outstanding candidate ready and like just blow everyone away. But the way that this has been like put up as, it's like nobody's shown their money. They just said, you know what, we can present you with 5 billion. They haven't said, right, here's our money and this. They've only just bidded. Like bidded is not putting the money right in front of you and putting it into your transaction. It's just it's a numerical thing that you see, and it's like, right, it's in here, and it's like, yo, we're trying to submit this bid. So we don't actually know if this Ineos guy has the money, because obviously he's claiming that he does. Obviously, we don't know that yet. The Qataris obviously are waiting to see what's going on and whether they can be approved and whatnot. So that's that there. So it's a lot of humming and hawing, man. And then you got Man United in the midst of it all, Nuruddin, that are doing their own PR, you know, which is obviously, you know what I mean, not going to be great when you, like today, we don't want to hear about them, man, doing whatever they want to do in the training ground because, like you said, like Tom said, oh, Man City about to get the bid for the World Cup or this and that, and you know, everything is they're now starting to see other people and the way the Qataris are maybe putting their PR on Ineos that they're going to do this and they're going to do that. They want to create their own headlines, and that's what's happening right now. It's creating a lot of doubt with people, and it's not good.
But Saeed, though, this is what I'm saying to you. And who suffers all this? The football club, the manager. So it's just here, there is a growing concerns that any chosen buyer will not be in place to oversee the transfer window. I mean, it's affecting the transfer window. We need to clear it out. We need a massive clear out, and we need to get the players that the manager needs. And like I said, last season in the summer, it was only my last year that went on tour. So it's going to be crazy, Tom. Like, for me, that's the most important thing. It's not about even who buys us or when are they going to sell. I know they're playing their games. I know that they won their 6 billion or whatever number they've got in their heads, right? I know a lot of these journalists are guessing. But the big thing for me is that this is going to have a knock-on effect on next season. This team, style of play.
Nuruddin, you might want to come in and out. Your internet's coming out. Your internet's cutting in and out. You might want to come out. But yeah, I think it will. But ultimately, you know, like you said, Tom, Ten Hag is not going to focus on that, is he? You know, as much as he wants to be part of it, he doesn't want to focus on that. He doesn't want to, you know, talk about it. It's honestly, Nuruddin, it's a subject that I think right now we don't have control over. The only thing we can do is be in the stadium with vocal Glazers out, which I do like the fact that the whole stadium now is doing it 2 or 3 times in a match now, where they're singing "Stand Up If You Hate Glazers" or, you know, "We Want Glazers Out." Like there's a bit of more robustness about Man United. They're not stopping, even when we're winning, we're still singing it. So I think ultimately that we can only control what we're doing, and that's winning games, and that's on our front. What we can't control is the politics that's involved. Even Ten Hag right now is giving the media nothing. Like, he's giving them nothing. Like, normally, you know, maybe Pep Guardiola would have gave them something, or, you know, he would have been like, be able to explain some things. But now this one here, you can't say nothing. You've just got to keep doing what you do and hope that there's a solution at the end of it. Yeah. Well, that's what I would say. End of the day. So,
I mean, this whole like blocking of a takeover and things like that, clubs can't decide if somebody's allowed in the league or not. It doesn't work like that. They can just say of a notion where we don't want these people involved. The same thing happened with Newcastle. They went to the Premier League shareholders meeting. All the different club representatives were there at the time. You had people like Ed Woodward were in the case room. You had then obviously transitioned over to Richard Arnold. You have all the different executives who go to these board meetings. They went and set the proposal and they said, we don't agree with Newcastle's proposal, but it satisfied the Premier League because at the end of the day, you can have a nation state own a football club. It's not a case of, if Mohammed bin Salman as an individual tried to buy Newcastle, it wouldn't be allowed. But because it's an investment fund, albeit he chairs it, it doesn't matter in that case. And the Premier League was satisfied with that. And as soon as you take, for example, the only issue that was wrong with Newcastle was the piracy claim. As soon as they said that, and they could prove that, the Public Investment Fund could prove that they don't fund BLQ as a sporting club, as a sporting commercial. As soon as they took that away from the deal, what happened to Newcastle Football Club? It went straight through, clear as day, no problems at all. The only difference was you had you had human rights groups like Amnesty International come out and condemn it. That's the only thing. And the same thing is happening now. Amnesty International coming out and stating about Qatar trying to buy Man United. But the thing that Sheikh Yassim's group will throw back at these lot is, I'm buying it as an individual. This is me and the 9-2 Foundation. This ain't Qatar. This ain't PIF. This ain't QSI. It's not one of those brands. It's the 9-2 Foundation. And I'm the chairman of it. And I've appointed XYZ people of my delegation who run the 9-2 Foundation. And at the end of the day, there's obviously been these leaked documents about that Saudi, the government had involvement in passing through the deal. The Athletic had attained documents of it and things like that, where they allowed the Newcastle takeover to go through, and they were putting pressure on the Premier League to stipulate that it could dampen Saudi Arabian and UK relations in terms of politics. And Boris Johnson apparently was the person who was putting pressure on Richard Masters to say, listen, you need to do something right in this case because it's going to heat in the tension in terms of politics between those countries. And we demand, and it was at this similar time when we had the fuel crisis here. Where's one of the most biggest distributors of fuel and probably oil in the world? Saudi Arabia. And at the end of the day, if you have good ties and good relations with them, you get your fuel and your oil and everything from Saudi Arabia. There's potential that the UK will get gas deals with Qatar in the future. Like, there's things and different, moving cogs in this case. And unfortunately, love it or hate it, politics takes over football in some cases. Because if you didn't have a British government, the Premier League wouldn't be able to regulate as a group. And
but it's funny, Tom. You know what, Tom? It's funny. Like Khalid makes the point here to both of you. He said, where were the club when United was bought in an over leveraged debt and loaded with debt? So they want Man United to be bought and run badly. The idea of Man United can be taken over by a nation.
Of course they do, Nuruddin, because Nuruddin, the Premier League as an organisation are scared that the success Man United could have, because at the end of the day, you've never had a football club who's had the history and the legacy and the success that Man United have had without this mega super money, if you like. But then suddenly you fund that and you give it that super money. Teams like City, mate, they might become Man United's little brother in this case, and that's not a disrespect to them. But it will be. Suddenly, that competitive element that people have about Manchester City have bought the league, they will level that at Man United, because commercially, it will take Man United to the highest ever figures and records. And maybe one day, Man United might even surpass clubs like Real Madrid in terms of the commercial and value that they could attain as a football club. And then that suddenly scares UEFA, because they think, oh, well, we could have what we have in every single domestic league, where there's that one major team that is the dominant force in every single one of those European leagues. I don't need to name it. City with the Premier League, PSG with France. Like, you have all these clubs, you have that one standout team, and suddenly that then could become Man United over the whole of Europe. And then suddenly the competitiveness argument of football is gone. But it was gone when you allowed Abu Dhabi to buy Manchester City, when PSG was bought out by QSI in Qatar, and when you had all these different groups that are now buying minority stakes and funding, if you like, feeder clubs to then find them the best players. And unfortunately, love it or hate it, this is how football's going. And when Stan Kroenke one day wants to sell Arsenal Football Club, you best believe there'll be some mad dogs in the Middle East that will want to buy that football club. And it will be doing the same thing that Sheikh Yassim is doing now. You will have the same case and argument if Liverpool came up for full sale. People in a similar situation and position will do it. The only difference is, and this is the last point I'm going to make, is about nearly 15 years ago, you had four different kinds of money that came into the Premier League: American, Russian, Chinese, and Middle East. Would we all agree on that? Yeah. Suddenly, after COVID and after the implications of what happens in China, Chinese investors are knocked out of the Premier League. What's happened with Ukraine and Russia? Russian oligarchs and Russian money is out of the Premier League. So the only source that you can get major people to buy into the Premier League is America, as we've seen with Todd Bowley, and now, as we've recently seen with Newcastle, with Saudi Arabia, and potentially Man United with Qatar.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. So it's either America or Middle East, and that's what you can choose from. And in Sir Jim's case, you can still say with Sir Jim, it's American money because he's using American banks to fund his bid anyway. It's not his own money. And that's the only difference in this case. At the end of the day, football clubs, and this is how football is going now, competitiveness in football, if you don't have super wealthy and mega ship owners who have piles and stockpiles of cash just to go, if you don't have that, you don't compete at the end of the day. And that's why I always respect clubs like Napoli who don't need that but can compete at the highest level. Like Atalanta did a couple of years ago in the Champions League. 2 or 3 seasons with Gasperini. Proper sporting investment, proper project. And they were up there competing with teams like PSG, Liverpool. They were competing with the best on a budget.
Listen, Tom, 100%. You've hit the... Nobody can ever accuse Manchester United of buying a league, by the way. Nobody can ever accuse Man United of doing that because Man United won it when nobody was buying. Nobody. Other clubs were spending more money than us. And I always remind people, Stoke City, a couple of seasons, spent more money than Man United in the Premier League. And Fergie actually made the Glazers money. So I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. It's just pure jealousy. At the end of the day, the way the club is in debt, the way the Glazers have handled Man United, it has to be multi-billionaire to buy Man United. And that's what it is. I'm sorry. So the cat's out of the bag. But I just want to go to you guys. Saeed, we do know what Ten Hag has said. We do know what Ten Hag has said. We do know. Because Ten Hag has said, if we sign players in the summer, I need them to be with me for the preseason. He said that. He said, no, I don't want what happened last season. So it's already
did he say that before the
it.
Glazers were selling? Did he say that before the Glazers were selling, or when? Is that
No,
what he said
he
before?
said it a couple months ago. No, since the sale has been. He said it. He said in the summer. He said, I don't want to know what about the sale. He said, but I know that in the summer, the players that we've got targets, we're working on. And he said it after the international talked about it. He said, we've made plans. We've been working really hard behind the scenes. No, he said we've been working really hard behind the scenes. And so that's what he said. He said to plan for the summer. But he said we want players to be there. So it's going to be mad. I mean, people can be jealous.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be because of the way the Premier League is right now. You know, clubs like Newcastle will come into the forefront. You know what I mean? Like there ain't no kind of like, you know, Southampton spent 100 million in January or something like that. Apparently, Bournemouth spent big money. You know, there ain't no clubs now where they ain't spending money now, unless you're maybe a Leicester where they're dwindling in terms of financially. Clubs like that where financially they're not capable of doing it. I think ultimately Arsenal will be in the Champions League. Tottenham obviously will be in around there. I don't know what's going to happen with them. You know what I mean? Chelsea will spend again. So Ten Hag's got this fear that, the top players that I want, I don't want them to go into other clubs. Look what happened with Mudryk. Look what happened, how people are hijacking. Last summer was the summer of all hijacks. You know, so I feel like, it's one of them situations where, he is worried in that sense because, again, he wants his main targets. Look at the way United are now with their main targets and look at them without with the players that he's got. You know what I mean? It's different. It's night and day, man. You know what I mean? So I think ultimately he is worried because he's very specific. He went specific for Martinez. Anthony, he was very, very insistent on. He was very insistent on Sebso, Venkors, like certain players he wants and he gets. And he don't know how to lose, man. If he loses, he'll come out with the Ronaldo situation. You know what happened with Ronaldo? He kicked him out, made him an example. So he'll be ruthless in the way he wants, man. So I'm not really worried about Ten Hag in that aspect because I know he will speak out anyway. Even when it has to be, he'll say, "Listen, I need some players, man." You know what I mean? Because right now, you know what I mean, he needs to implement his style of play. It's the next phase of Ten Hag football. The next phase of Ten Hag football is to have his players in here, you know?
Saeed, actually, I'm going to stay with you and just go off topic, by the way, because we don't know what's going to happen with the sale, people. We're not going to know what's going to happen. But Saeed, there's a lot of hoo-ha about what happened, the referee's assistant and Robertson. just quickly, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that was an elbow? Do you think he should be banned? Or do you think it was just a handoff because Robertson put his
There's
hand
another
on him?
video
So they
though.
didn't elbow him?
There's another video that I seen today which changes the kind of obviously I don't condone what he did because he shouldn't have done it, but the way Robertson went in, I think he's he's a big lad as well, you know. I think he must have felt that Robertson was going to either push him or pull him. I don't know what he's going to do. So I don't know if he was trying to like say get off me, and it's perceived to be that he's trying to elbow him
That's what
because
it
there's
was,
another
Simon.
angle. Hey,
Yeah. That's what it was. It was a hands off. It's like get off me. It was that kind of thing. Because if he wanted to knock Robertson out, he would have put his flag down and knocked him out. I genuinely don't think it was just Robertson. He didn't expect Robertson's chin and body to be where it was. I think he was just like, don't touch me. That's what it was. You know, sometimes when somebody's like, don't touch me, you put your hand out, don't you? And that's what happened. And they're going crazy saying he should be banned and all that. Like, let's calm down, people. My guy's not on footballers' wages. They're doing a very hard job. We all fans are against them majority of the times. So people need to calm down. Like, people are like 8-game ban and that. Like, his career should be done.
Yeah, man.
Robertson is a little, listen, like Roy Keane said, he's a baby. A baby. Roy Keane said he's a baby, mate. At the end of the day, Tom, what did you think of that? It was a mad one because I'm like, listen, don't put your hand on somebody. It was a handoff. If he really wanted to knock Robertson out, that guy's a big lad. He wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Tom, what did you think about that?
There's
A lot of hoo-ha, wasn't it? It was a lot of hoo-ha.
I just think it's plain and simple. Sometimes referees, you can push them too far. Like we say with players, they're only human. And that's the only thing I can say. And it's a human reaction. If somebody grabs hold of your arm or taps you or whatever, like, you're going to turn around and say, what's up? Like, you're just going to do. It's an instant reaction at the end of the day. And like we say all the time with officials. But the only thing that people are going to throw at the linesman is, well, if that was a player, it'd be a different story and things like that. But players get paid hundreds and hundreds of £1,000s a week. Officials probably barely even get paid a quarter of what, shall we say,
less than a quarter.
An elite player, what an elite player gets. Maybe not even minimum in terms of a student, like sort of accommodation minorities you pay back on your student loan after like you get over £25,000 per annual year, things like that. But at the end of the day, referees have been under scrutiny for all of this season, for every little thing from VAR to conduct, as we've seen with the Liverpool game, to just learning how to use technology in the right way. They don't know how to do it. And ultimately, all these different phases and different problems that we've had this season, it just goes to show that maybe you need something new. Maybe you need something fresh. And this is where I say, you should have an academy, whether it be in the FA, the Premier League, whatever, of a fresh batch of referees every 5 years. And after 5 years, you release those referees from your books and you say, right, you can go and try and get a quota and go and referee in Europe. You can go and referee wherever, Spain, wherever. Learn the language, educate yourself. And from there, every single 5 years, you will always have a refresh. You will always have different referees. You won't have Mike Dean, Michael Oliver, John Moss. You'll have new referees. You'll have people who've been educated in the classroom, if you like, learning how to use VAR in certain scenarios, examinations. This is what I'm saying anyway. But as a whole, the actual linesman decision, it's a human reaction. And honestly, if people are wanting him to be banned and things like that, then at the end of the day, mate, just jog on, mate. Because
Tom, it's so
it's
weird.
a linesman.
Tom, it's like they don't live in the real world.
They don't
If
live in the
somebody
real
tries
world.
to touch you, you just go, get off me. And that's what he did. He was just like, get off me. He was just shrugged his shoulder. And now they're saying that they're making it out like Robertson got assaulted. Assaulted. Tom, honestly.
No, if he wanted to ship him, he could have easily just turned around and give him a right hook if he wanted instead.
Exactly.
Should linesman down, put your pole down and listen. We'll go watch it, Andy Robertson. We've seen it with officials in Europe where it happens. But go on, Rin.
And Tom, here is all the refs should be punished for their incompetence in decisions. That's what I'm more concerned about. Not because one guy said to him, "Get off me."
No.
I wonder, like Brighton. So you see on this channel, people go, "Oh, you only talk about bad referees when it's against United." No, we're talking about it now. We're dictating the next 10 minutes to this. Look what happened at Brighton. That is an absolute penalty, exactly like it was Sancho when we played Newcastle at home. Exactly the same thing. Referee waves it away. It is madness. And
with the Spurs game though and the Brighton game, it's not even just that one decision. There was 4 or 5 decisions in that game that were so similar and like interlinked. It was ridiculous. You can say in a case of maybe what happened with the Newcastle game with Sancho, it was a one-off, if you like, because it only happened once in the game. When it happens 3 or 4 times and it's constantly reoccurring, and the same incompetence doesn't get given, at the end of the day, I don't have any remorse for that. I always believe people can make a mistake, and like what they've done with Brighton Football Club, the PGMOL have come out and apologised to them. That's all you can do in that case. You can't do any more. The game's done and dusted. All you can do is apologise and reiterate that we're in a testing phase and we're trying to improve the game. But when you want to improve the game, it's okay to improve it when you're trying to improve it in a season. It's not the time to do it. When players go away on pre-season, I always believe referees should have something similar. You go away, you educate yourselves, guys. Work in a high climate environment. Go to Dubai or something. Do a qualification. Learn how to use VAR, touch screen at the side of the pitch. Learn the laws of the game again. And this is what I mean in terms of re-examine yourself. It's the same thing every single year when your car gets out with MOT. Everybody goes and takes the car for an MOT, don't they? It should be the same thing with the referees. Retest them.
They should have a pre-season, Tom. Tom, you're 100% right. They should have a pre-season where they all go away and they learn to use VAR. Like Khalees, big up Khalees Remedy, that's the chief editor at United Real Therapy. By the way, people, I've only asked you in the comment, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're like 70 away from 7,000. So please let people know about the channel. But I'm not trying to bang them because I expect you to know it, Therapy Army. It's the least you can do. Is smash a like it for yourselves. Because your comments get no other YouTube channel, Saeed, gets your comments shared on screen. No other channel does that. So smash a like for yourself for getting your stuff on the screen. That's what you need to do. And subscribe to the channel. It's simple for me, people. It's so simple, right? I'm not here to moan about referees when it only affects Manchester United. I want to see better, a fairer football, fairer league. We want that. We want a fairer league. We want to see better football. So that's what we want in this country. It's simple. It's absolutely simple. I want to see better football, better officiating, better referees, better assistant referees. I want to see that competitive. I want everybody to bring their A game because it makes it for better competition. So this is, like Lee said, has been an absolute disgrace. I don't know if any of you saw the James Garner tackle on Wan-Bissaka. That's a straight red if it's Casemiro. That's a straight red. It's crazy. But listen, my internet is going a bit funny. But the internet is going a bit funny, people. But smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We lose or draw. Glazer Vultures playing games. We're second their games. Manchester United Eric Ten Hag needs to know what the plans are and what's the budget is for the summer transfer. He needs that because we can clearly see we need players. But we lose or draw. Glazer out, bankers out. Let me know in the comments, people. What do you think? What would you think if you were in Ten Hag's position? Long. Big up to every one of you. Love and like and smash a like and let people know about the channel. That's all you need to do. Let people know about the channel. Let it grow, people. This is your channel. It's not. It's Therapy Army. We're all part of the Therapy Army. So love and like. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And let me know in the comments about what they're saying about this assistant referee. It was an accident. He didn't mean to elbow him. He just meant to say, get off me. And his chin is there like that, hanging out. Robertson, he's a baby. He needs to just sit down. And all this fake outrage culture needs to just give it a rest. Take care. Glazer vultures out. Bankers out. Peace, love, and light. Catch you in a most likely Wednesday for the Sevilla, Manchester United Sevilla preview. Let's go, people. Take care. Bye. Take care. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday.